All right. Hello, Succeeders. This is Stacy Barlow Hill, your leadership and lifestyle coach, helping you to become the best version of yourself and lead successfully. Today is Tuesday. It's time for our Tuesday Talk and Live podcast. And I am here today with Danielle Detiege. Did I say that right?
You did it perfectly.
I was practicing before we went on live, and I knew I was messing it up, but she said I got it right. How are you today, Danielle?
I am good, Stacy. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so excited to have you on. I see you on social media, but it's been a long time since I've seen you in person. But for those of you that don't know, Danielle is the owner of NOLA Party Boutique. She is in New Orleans. And you'll hear that in her accent. She has a beautiful New Orleans accent. So you'll hear her accent as she begins to talk. And she is also the owner of Workflow, which helps small business owners. She says helping small business owners play big. But I'll let her tell you more about that. So Danielle, let me give you the stage for a little bit and introduce yourself. Let us know about you, and then we'll keep going on here.
Okay, well, like you said, I'm the owner of NOLA Party Boutique, and that started as a passion project. I always have loved parties, and I always like to do fun and different things. And when I was doing things for my son and his birthday parties, people started asking me to do those things for them, and they're like, "Oh, well, can I order this?" And I'm like, "Order? Like what?" Like, like that was just something I was doing. And so I started with desserts actually, and at some point transitioned into balloons because my customers started asking for it. And initially it was a hobby, as and I would say a side hustle. And at some point I realized I wasn't happy with what I was doing in my full-time job, and I wanted to make it a real business. And so I had to do a lot of mindset shifting and education and everything else to develop that into a real business and be able to take it full time. So I focused on that very seriously. And I'm the type of person, if I put it in my mind, I'm going to make it happen. And, I put a date to it and was able to leave my full time job and do balloons as a business full time. And so in that process, a second business was born because as I met other female entrepreneurs, especially in the events industry or in creative industries, they were passionate about what they were doing, but they were not interested in that business side of things. And so I wanted to help women business owners to get that, to be able to take that from a side hustle to actually being a business and being able to support their families.
Love that. How long has your event business been around?
It has been around. I keep saying 10 years, but it's been around since 2009. Somewhere in there, I've lost track of,
Yeah.
those years. So
Oh,
since
good.
2009 is when I initially started the business.
Okay. So we started right around the same time. My event company is 11 this year. So that's wonderful. And I think we discovered not too long ago that we had our beginnings kind of in common with the desserts. We both started out of
Right.
desserts and cake decorating and stuff like that. So it's really cool. Isn't it something to just kind of see how like decorating cakes and cupcakes and then 11 years later and you're sitting here talking about something completely different, and how full circle it's gone. So
Right.
awesome. Wonderful. So tell us a little bit about each business. So let's start more with the event because I know what you do, but everybody else doesn't know what you do. So tell us what NOLA is, and then we'll talk about what workflow is.
Okay, so NOLA Party Boutique. Now we're strictly balloon decor. I have some people that are still very upset with me that I don't do desserts anymore, but I do not. So we're strictly balloon decor now, and we mainly service corporate and high-end events. And that's kind of our focus. We work a lot with event planners as well as corporate accounts. And we try to provide both classic decor and creative decor for those types of events. But that's just, coming from a corporate background, that's kind of just what I enjoy, because I know that client and I know what they need.
Mhm. I understand. What was your profession before you started the company?
I used to work in administration. So I used to work for the health department here in administration. And then prior to that, I worked for what I call a serial entrepreneur. So my previous boss opened, I want to say, 5 different small businesses during the time that I was with him, and never had a staff of more than 10 people. So,
Wow.
and that's total across the businesses.
Oh, wow.
So that is part of where, my passion for this second business workflow comes from, is developing processes to be able to do more with less.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, so now tell us a little bit about workflow and how that started and who you service with that.
So workflow really just started from, as I was, building my education in business and learning different things to expand my business and to get closer to my target customer. I was running into a lot of other business women who were like, that was just great to them. Like the business side of thing was just not, one, something that they understood, and two, something that they really wanted to understand. And they wanted to just live their passion. As an artist, we have that side of us that is like, all about the artistry, but is difficult to then, like rein that in and be business focused, because you just want to create that beautiful thing.
Yeah.
But that beautiful thing has to pay bills. So you have to
Absolutely.
bring the two together. And so I saw that there was a need there, and I saw that there was a gap, because a lot of the business instruction that I was going to, I understood because I love business, but other people were still lost. It wasn't being broken down, enough for someone who doesn't already understand it to really get it and understand why it's important.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I come across this a lot too. And I'm sure you do, having been in business as long as you have. But, people will come to you and want you to mentor or, give them advice. And usually one of my first pieces of advice is to understand that this is a business. Just because you can cook well or do hair well or whatever your profession is, doesn't necessarily mean that you'll be successful or even want to be an entrepreneur. Like a lot of times they see, us sitting around talking about it and think that's great, I can do that, or they see the pictures and see all of those things, but not understanding the work and the grind and the hustle that comes behind it. And at some point, you usually end up doing everything besides what it was that you really wanted to do in the first place. So while
Right.
you be a party planner, now you become the secretary, the janitor, the administrative, like everything.
Right. I mean, it's definitely not for the faint at heart. I mean, you have to really know that it's something that you want to do and get into. And, social media is not going to show you those 3 o'clock in the morning breakdowns when you're like, it doesn't look right. It's not, like, I can remember I have a business bestie, and we both were doing desserts at that time. And I remember a phone call at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was doing a Mickey Mouse design on an Oreo.
Mhm.
And I was just like, it just looks like 3 circles. It just looks like 3 circles. And she said, Danielle, Mickey Mouse is 3 circles. But there are a million conversations like that we had, like nobody is there for for that part. And that part is real. And so,
Mhm.
you could be the most talented, but not be the most successful.
Yeah,
It's that
absolutely.
business piece that's going to make the difference.
Absolutely. And, and that doesn't, to some people, that comes natural. I think, maybe a little bit for like yourself and myself. But for a lot of people, it doesn't. And I think, um, it's okay to admit that. Like, there's so many resources and people like yourself that can help those people. They can help you, and it takes some focus and grind. Are you getting the echo on your end?
For a second I was, but I think it's good.
It's echoing. Okay, sorry. But that can be taught, right? You can be taught business skills, but it's going to take some effort. Like, you're going to need to seek the help and admit that you need the help, because that's going to, I think, determine a lot, and whether your business is going to be successful or not. So I love that. Love that you offer that. Are you just in the New Orleans area, or are you offering that, kind of worldwide?
No, I mean, we're a virtual world, so wherever the need is, I want to be able to touch and help as many women business owners as possible, because if you have that passion and drive, I want to see you succeed. It shouldn't be just information or, a skill set that keeps you from reaching your height.
Absolutely. I'm glad you brought up COVID too. I was going to ask you how your businesses have survived or thrived during COVID. What's kind of been your experience?
So I actually took an untraditional route during COVID as far as the balloon business. A lot of people pivoted to like the yard art and everything like that. For me, I'm very spiritual and faith based, and so for me, I knew in that moment that the Lord was calling me in a different direction. So to me, I had been putting workflow on hold. It was there, but I wasn't giving it its full attention because I was trying to reach a certain point of, automation in the balloon business so that I could focus on it, so that I could pull my attention away. And so I took COVID as that moment of saying, you know what, you have unlimited time right now. And I took that as an opportunity to lean in, and like maybe a week or two after COVID, I put out a 40-day strengthen your business challenge. And it was just a free challenge. It was just, I needed something to do with my time. And I knew that there were a lot of businesses that, whether they wanted to or not, were on hold.
Yeah.
And so it was a good opportunity to just start working on those business skills so that once you could start, doing things again, that you would be more solid in your business and ready, to kind of try to recoup those losses and, come back stronger.
I love it. Love it. Love it. I think when I met you, I feel like you were this was either a thought or it was maybe set up, but you weren't quite like all the way in it.
Right.
That time. So it's awesome to see like how much you've grown, and just how much I'm sure this is really impactful too at this time. I found even in my own coaching, the same kind of happened. I focused on it a lot more when COVID came, but it seems like it's the time now where people are kind of reevaluating where they are, or wanting to really tighten up skills, or really thinking about entrepreneurism, or starting businesses and things like that. So I feel like this is a really great time for the coaching part of your business.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, we don't take enough time to sit still. And sometimes, the way the world is, we don't get the opportunity to sit still. And I think a lot of our purpose is in that silence, and we don't get the opportunity to see it. And so I think, COVID gave a lot of people the opportunity to really start evaluating like what's going on with my life, and am I living my purpose?
Absolutely. Yeah. Before we signed on live, we were talking about being introverts and how we've kind of enjoyed some of this on-screen time and attending conferences virtually. But I hear that a lot, though, that a lot of people feel like you can't be an entrepreneur and be introverted, or you don't have as much success being introverted. So what do you say to that?
I mean, I think that you have to adjust, but I don't think that you have to change, if that makes sense. Like, there are some adjustments that, have to be made. I mean, I had to get comfortable with networking events and, what that meant. but I still move in my own way. I just, I have to stretch myself. I know that I'm, tend to be shy or, whatever. I have to stretch myself, but I can still be an entrepreneur that is successful and still be an introvert. I'm still totally an introvert. A lot of people may not believe it if they, hear my videos or they see that I'm actually sitting here doing a podcast right now. Um, but it's something that I'm passionate about. So it's something that, I don't feel is uncomfortable doing. And it's, also, having great people to do it with, it makes it a lot easier for you as well. But it's just learning yourself and pulling out the best of yourself. You don't have to switch over to be someone you're not. You just pull out that best part of yourself, and you know that sometimes you have to kind of suck some things up because it's for the greater good. So, if I can't get out in front of people, then I can't help people.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's a big takeaway from that too, is when you know it's not about you. Cause I still honestly am not, it's not my favorite thing to be on camera. But I used to be terrified of it just a couple of years ago, like to the point where I wouldn't do anything live. Like I'd have to record it and then put it out and then was still scared about it. And so I will say I've come a long way. But what I have to constantly remind myself is it's not about me. If you're making it about you and how you look and all this stuff, then you're making it about you, right? So it's about who you're serving and those that you serve. And when you can put it in that type of perspective, then, it doesn't matter what my hair looks like or what lipstick I got on or what's happening today because it's for someone else. So I love that. Do you have any best practices? So like for me, like Thursdays are my day off. Like I will shut off my phone. I will like not answer the door. Like it is my day off. If I choose to answer the door, answer the phone, like I do that, but I'm very protective of like that day. It's my day. Like, so do you have any best practices that you use to help keep yourself, at your best?
Well, yeah, my day is Monday.
Okay.
So I do the same thing. My day is Monday, and basically my rule for Monday is I only do things that I want to do.
Yes.
And so sometimes that might be work. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it may be, let's say I know the week is about to be crazy, and sometimes work may be what I want to do, but I only do what I want to do. If something comes across my desk or email or something, and it's just like, stressing me out, well, it'll stress me out on Tuesday because Monday is
Yes.
my day. And then my other tip is just create boundaries. And when you create those boundaries, respect them. Because when you disrespect your boundaries, it causes stress for you. But, sometimes people will say, well, I want to please my customer. I want to do this and I want to do that. And that is all well and good. But when you stretch yourself outside of your boundaries, you're actually disrespecting your customers too. Because every time that I've done that, that one person may have gotten what they wanted, but it stretched me in a way that I couldn't best service everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can't show up as my best self for my clients if I'm dealing with something that's outside of the boundaries. Know why you set them and make sure that you are, maintaining them, because you didn't make them up out of the clear blue sky. You set them for a reason. And so, just always respect your boundaries. Know that, there's nothing that, unless you're, a medical professional, there's nothing that anybody's gonna, die if it doesn't happen in that moment. So just make sure you respect those boundaries and enjoy your family and your life. Like I think that gets lost a lot of times, when you're an entrepreneur, like you're so busy trying to, make progress, but what is it worth if you're not really enjoying those around you?
Absolutely. Yeah, I love what you just said. 'Cause I had really thought of it in that way, but you said that when you disrupt your boundaries by serving a client, you're not at your best to service other clients. So it's actually, kind of a chain reaction, and that makes a whole lot of sense. I get that for sure. Um, I just had a conversation even with my team last evening because it's everybody wants to plan parties now. So we went from like closed last year to like
Yes, yes,
we
yes,
can
yes.
handle this year. And people are just celebrating in the backyard and the church and the pool. Like it doesn't matter. Like they just want to have events. So it's wonderful and we're blessed, but it's a lot, trying to keep up with everybody and please everybody, and they don't want to, turn things down. But I was just telling them like you have to set boundaries and you've got to take time off and you can't wait for the day to take time off. Like you've got to be intentional and like put it on the calendar and
Yes,
and take it, because if you don't take it, you're just gonna run yourself crazy and then you're gonna be stressed out and then it's gonna show up in your work and the way that you relate to people and your family, and it's just a whole trickle down effect. But self care is so important. Um, Especially in our line of work. The event industry can be brutal. Um, like you were mentioning the 3 a.m. cleanups and the setups, it's an all day affair. And it's not just that day, it's all the prep work that goes in
correct.
before it, all the meeting with clients and everything. And especially as introverts, right? Because we have to reserve our energy and to be able to be the best that we can for other people. So to all of you introverts out there, set boundaries, use
Yes, yes,
self-care, be
yes.
intentional about taking your time off, protect your space, protect your energy, so that you can be the best that you can be. So Danielle, tell us a little bit about your family in New Orleans and what's going on over there.
So yes, I'm a New Orleans girl, food and music and all.
Yeah.
And so I am married. We're gonna actually be married next month for 17 years.
Nice.
And we've been together since high school. So I say we've been together since 1812. We've been together longer than we've been apart. Um so that, that is a beautiful, beautiful thing. And he is like so supportive of everything. Like no matter what, like, crazy journey I take us on, he's like, so what you need me to do? I'm like, well, so that has been a blessing. We have a 14-year-old son, Noah. And I don't even know how to describe Noah. He's just, I don't know. Just, God knew what he was doing. That's all I'm gonna say. And one day, we'll see what greatness comes from him, because he's just that type of kid. He's just, smart, he's kind, he's just loving, he's just I could go on and on. You can check out my timeline and you'll see all of my proud mommy moments with my baby. And then Walter, our newest addition, is he's our puppy.
Yeah.
So the door is closed, so he's not in here. He would typically be like right here. But he's our new little puppy, and he's gonna be 1 next month. So he was a COVID gift, and he is so full of personality. He has his own Instagram page, and he has a following, and it's been incredible. I call him my coworker, but all he manages to do is lay on top of my paperwork. And I really call him my self-care manager, because it seems as though he realizes when it's time to stop working, and he will climb on top of my lap, like move the laptop. My office hours are over.
Yes. Oh,
So,
I love that.
so
Yes.
yeah.
If you follow Danielle, you see Walter makes my day. I love seeing his little face pop up. And he's just so cute. I didn't know he was not even 1 yet though. He's big.
Yeah, he's been getting big. I hope he's finished growing, since he thinks he's a lap dog. So I hope he's done, because I don't think my lap can take much more.
Oh, wonderful. Well, how do you think because it sounds like family is super important to you. How do you feel like you've navigated through these businesses with keeping your family and your faith at the forefront, and not being able to lose that in the process?
I mean, I will say it has been a challenge, and it wasn't something that I always managed well.
Mhm.
In the beginning, I feel like, you know, that lack of, boundaries and people pleasing and all of that, just led to, it was constantly, like you're constantly working. And so it's
Mhm.
like, you're working a full-time job, then you come home and then you're trying to work on whatever you have to do for this event. And when you look up, you realize that, you kind of blurred through the week.
Yeah.
And, my family has always been there and always been supportive. Um, I used to call Noah my quality control manager when he was a little kid, because he would walk through and he'll say, "Mommy, that doesn't look right." And I'm like, "I'm not finished." And then I would come and get him when I'm finished to get his approval.
Yeah.
So they were always a part of the business, and we do everything together no matter what it is. So we're always going to
Mhm.
spend time together. But as I started to become more clear on the direction I wanted to go in, I made sure that they were a priority, and that time was its own time. Not that we spent time together because we were working on jobs all weekend, but we spent time together because it was, planned out that way and purposeful.
Yeah. Does he still like to help? Does he help out in the
He
business?
still helps out. I don't know if he likes it or not. I haven't I haven't really asked, but he still helps out. He's my balloon popper, and he, definitely helps on deliveries when he's not in school and stuff like that. So he still helps.
That's what I think. Mine don't want anything to do with it anymore. They keep talking about going to work at Starbucks and all this stuff, and I'm like, you have a company to work at, and I'm like, I've been doing that since we was 5. Like,
No, he still will help, but I
if
don't,
I ask them, they
I
will
don't
help.
push it though. I don't push it.
I know they're like, they would come if I asked them to, but they're not gonna volunteer anymore at all. They're over that. But then, yeah, what's maybe like a biggest life lesson that you've learned maybe through all this?
I think the biggest life lesson that I would say that I've learned is that things don't have to be the way that people told you they have to be.
Mm,
You can make your own reality. I think that we are, taught that we have to do things this way. You have to have a traditional job, or you won't be successful, or you have to, like the whole constant grind. Like I'm like so anti that mentality at this point in my life. Like, you
yeah,
can work smarter. You don't have to, everything doesn't have to be hard. Everything doesn't have to be a struggle. You can live with ease, and you can have, like people say, well, you can't have it all. You can have it all. You just have to look at and really evaluate, what does all mean?
yeah,
And I think that really looking at what are those things that matter, and focusing on making sure that your actions align with those things that matter, because there's so much wasted energy on things that ultimately don't matter, but people told us they did.
mm, hmm, yeah. I love that for sure. What does success look like to you these days? I feel like when we start our businesses, we kind of have one idea of what we think is success, and then somewhere along the way, I feel like it kind of changes sometimes. But what's your definition today of what success looks like to you?
Today, my definition of success is peace and time freedom.
Yes,
Like,
yes,
at the end of the day, I'm like, is this going to disturb my peace? It's not worth it.
yes.
It's just not worth it. Like,
It is. I think you posted something not too long ago, and I don't know if I saved it or liked it or commented or what, but it was something about you said just because I'm available doesn't mean
just because I'm free doesn't mean I'm available, or something
yeah,
along those lines. It's
yeah,
true. People feel like, all of your time has to be occupied, and if it's not occupied, then you're not being productive, or you're not this, or you're not that. Is so we have that rat race mentality so deeply ingrained. Sometimes you need to sit still. Sometimes you just need to sit. Like, rest is a part of it. You can't be your best self if you don't allow yourself to rest. And I mean, I just don't understand like the like anti-rest mentality, because I'm like, why wouldn't you want to? Like,
Yeah.
why would
Yeah.
you not want to do that?
And I feel some of that might come with age too, because I feel like 20s and 30s, like rest, what? Like I don't need rest. Like I can stay up all night. I can push
Yes,
through this. So I feel like maybe it's some age, um, and seasons, right? Like maybe there's
yes,
like you kind of gotta hustle at some period when you're starting a business, like
right, right.
seasons of hustling. But I feel like you learn really quick, like
Yeah, I
especially
mean,
with
it's temporary. You know what I'm saying? It's like that is a mode, not a life. And I
yes.
think that some people never switch out of it. Like, you at some point, like you do that because you don't know any better. You're learning as you go, but at some point you learn and then
Mhm.
you do something different. But I think some people just never make that transition. And I'm like, well, when is that going to happen? Because eventually we're not going to be here anymore.
Right. Absolutely. Well, this was wonderful, Danielle. And if you are part of the Successful Soul Circle, Danielle is going to continue on after this in the Facebook group with her owner signature framework, which is her keys to having a balanced business so that you are owning your business instead of your business owning you. And I love that so much. So we are going to sign off of here and continue our talk in the Soul Circle. If you want to become a member of the Successful Soul Circle, you will still have access to this. There's an online classroom where you get replays to all of our guest speakers and workshops. So Danielle, why don't you maybe just tell us a little snippet about what the owner signature framework is, and then we're going to hop on over to there and go on with your talk.
Okay, so yeah, the owner framework, I mean, my main philosophy at this point as a business owner is, doing things in a way that give you freedom and that you're not, bogged down under your business, because I think that's what happens to a lot of us. We get engrossed in the business and then the business becomes us and there's no separation between us and the business. And honestly, the business is owning you at that point. You have no control over it. So I want to help everybody to get that control back and to, flip the script. So now that you have that ownership and your business is working for you and you have the freedom to live whatever it is your dream life is.
Danielle, what's the website for your workflow?
It's yourworkflow.com.
Yourworkflow.com. I'm gonna put that up here so you can see it. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay, so everyone go to yourworkflow.com and follow Danielle. Where can they follow you? Social media.
They can follow me on either Facebook or Instagram, and it's at Your Workflow.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Danielle. I can't wait to hear your talk over in the Successful Soul Circle. Thank you so much for being with us today, and we will talk to you soon.
Okay, thank you for having me.
Thank you.